Bass amps have become significantly smaller and lighter over the past decades. That's great. But there are some things about old amps, especially those that run on tubes, that have a lot more character compared to what we get to have these days. Well, there's a guy named Jeff Genzler, and apparently he went on a mission to change that. Welcome to BassTheWorld. My name is Gregor Fris and today I'm accompanied by my friend Sophie Chassé on bass. And this is the KINETIX 800 by Genzler, a light Class D amp that doesn't sound like a typical Class D amp at all. It seems, with just a few exceptions, that they're all modeled after the very clean and neutral sounding solid state amps that were once the new technology when tube amps went out of fashion. With the KINETIX, Jeff Genzler has put tube technology back on the map, and not just a little bit, he went all in. Of course, the KINETIX 800 is not a tube amp. It has a Class D power amp and a switching power supply to keep it small and lightweight, which is what everyone wants these days. The magic sits in the preamp. It's a 6-stage Class A tube preamp with 3 12AX7 tubes running on 300 volts. I'm not a technician, but even I understand that's not how tubes are mostly utilized in pedals and amps these days. This high voltage circuit seems to create a lot more of what we typically describe as a tube amp feeling. They're adding a certain weight to each played note, which is caused by natural compression and saturation. It's absolutely beautiful and the first Class D amp that really sounds and behaves like a tube amp. But before we lean further into these characteristics, let's hear one sound that demonstrates the KINETIX can also be clean and fast and neutral. For this sound we used the boost option before the preamp and set the, what I would call, character switch to lean. That's the setting for those sounds when you don't want to go thick or fat, which are the other two switch positions here. Before the preamp stage sits the 3-way toggle where you can select mute, on, or the aforementioned boost option. Then follow gain and volume. More gain produces a tube overdrive, less gain keeps your tone clean, and volume is of course there to compensate for the differences. Let's hear a sound with a higher gain setting using a StingRay where the amp produces some natural tube overdrive. After gain and volume follows another 3-way toggle, which I again would call the character switch. The slap sound was recorded with the lean setting. The drive sound that you've just heard was in the thick position. Now let's try one sound with the switch set to fat. We loved this so much during our recording session, Sophie and myself immediately considered buying this amp. It's so good with so much character, it produces such a full-bodied bass sound, we've never heard something like this coming from a Class D amp. But back to the front panel, we are not done yet. Of course there's also a 5-band EQ and a master volume that handles the 800 watts, which by the way go down to 2.67 ohms. So you can attach any cabinet or any cabinet combination you can imagine. If you're running a single 8 ohms cap, the power output drops down to 400 watts. That's normal. On the back panel you get everything you could possibly need. 2 speaker and speaker outs, an impedance selector for these outputs, then an aux in, a headphone out, an effects loop, a tuner out, and last but definitely not least, a tube driven DI out with not just the typical ground and lift plus pre and post switches, but also one to select mic or line level. It doesn't get much more professional. This amp is ready to tour the world with you, and the sound guys will love you. The DI out sounds spectacular. You've been hearing it all throughout this video with a little bit of the mic'd up new classic 2x10 cabinet in the mix. I feel like I really have to hold back with my excitement to not sound like a total shill. After all, Genzler sent me this amp and pays for this video. Well, I have to send the amp back, but I'm keeping the money. Damn, is it good. There are a bunch of really exciting Class D amps which I really like, but nothing like this. The KINETIX might be the first of a completely new genre. I love tube amps, but besides some really good plugins, I've never heard such a good tube amp sound coming out of something that doesn't look like this, or at least like this. I'm fascinated and I'm very happy, and I hope this video helps to also spark some excitement in you. Thanks for watching. Here's one of our recent Genzler pedal videos, here's a fabulous merch shop, and here's me saying, this is heavy. BassTheWorld.